So chapter 5, calculating the heart rate and then checking out the regularity of each rhythm. But and I did mention, I think, on one of the other videos, the easiest way to get an average heart rate. You're not gonna be, I guess, specific or precise on the heart rate. There are other ways to do it, so you can get the exact heart rate. But normally, in the places that I've been to, they just want the average rate for the most part, and you'll get a picture. You'll see how it is a little bit later. You still gotta watch for other things, because one heart rate, one rhythm can probably have like four QRSs, and then the next rhythm might have the same amount of QRXs, which is QRXs is heartbeats, right? So in the sixth rhythm, you could probably have two different strips, both with the four QRS, the other one also QRS, but maybe this one, the first one, maybe it's a little bit more consistent, maybe not regular but consistent still, and maybe the last one, maybe the two last beats have a wider beat to beat, and that's a little more dangerous than the first one, as long as the heart is beating kind of close to each other, because if you have a pauses in the heart and the between beats, then that's kind of dangerous. So it doesn't matter if it's four QRXs um, in the rhythm within the 6 seconds. You just have to look at 6 seconds, because you most likely that's what's running throughout the whole rhythm. So you're just really looking at six and then getting the heart rate from there. So like this one, for example, within 6 seconds, how many QRX, these right here, right in the middle, not the edges. The edges, we're not doing these. I'm going to take these edges out so you'll get confused. Within this 6 seconds, how many do you see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5, 6, 5 QRXs. 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So that's, you put a 0 after 5 or times 10, whatever you find easier. And it's 50 beats a minute. That's how much beats this beating this patient. That's how many beats per minute is their heart rate is, or whatever. So that's just an example of this one. I wanted to show you real quick an example of artifact one more time before I know this is the last one I wanted to show you. You can see here, it's marching. Here you would think maybe it's a PVC or something going on, but it's not. It's showing you a dot, because you could still see a beat here, or a QRS, and then it continues on. So I just wanted to show you, there sometimes it's still running smooth. It's just some artifact. It could be maybe they sneezed or they something and they just made some artifact, but it's not. This is probably nothing serious, nothing to report about. And this is an example of what I was talking to you a little while ago about. See, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's probably like let's just kind of how you say, pretend it's two different people. So this one is probably a little scary, but this one's scarier because it's a whole gap where the heart's not beating. So it could probably be the same heartbeats, the same heart rate, but it's probably not the same. This is probably a little bit dangerous in this one. Just little things to look out for, or for you to keep in mind. Now we're going to talk about the regularity types. There's 3 types. So I'm just going to read this one. It says, rhythm regularity is concerned with the spacing of the QRS complexes. You have to compare the R to R. When you say R to R, again, it's the QRS to the QRS to the Q. You have to compare how far is it from each other. The distance between the QRS complexes. There's 3 types. It's called regular but interrupted, or irregular. and I'm going to show you some examples. Okay, regular, the R to R's intervals, or the timing between the R to R's vary by one or two little blocks only. That's it. Only one or two little blocks, not a lot. And so that means they're marching out. So that would be regular. Everything looks good, right? The QRS usually look alike. Okay, so they march out. They're consistent. I'm gonna show you an example of it. This one, you could tell is marching out. For the most part, you could tell it's marching out. Let me see another example. Hold on. The top one, it says regular rhythm. You see it's apart about 23, 23, 23. Now, whenever you want to measure some of these, you don't have to keep counting each and every little block. The 0.04 seconds, each little one, you don't have to keep counting it. I'm gonna show you what a caliper looks like. That's usually what you'll use if you're gonna print out something and want to look at it. So on paper you'll have like a little instrument, a caliper, but on the computer it already comes on there, so you can click that button and then it automatically kind of, you can use it and you can move it around and you can measure it to see if it's marching out. So the top one, for the most part, is marching out. They're a little bit different by a little bit. 23, see, 23 boxes apart, 23 boxes apart. This one over here, 23 and a half, and 24 boxes apart. So it's mostly it's regular, right? That one. The regular but interrupted, it's a regular rhythm, but it's interrupted by premature beats or pauses. So for the most part, if you pay attention, if you pay close attention, you will see marching out for the most part, but then you'll see every now and then little beats that they keep interrupting. Maybe it'll happen a lot, maybe it'll happen just a few times, or maybe a pause, a frequent pauses, or just one pause or something like that. You got to pay attention to the what they call the underlying rhythm. What are they normally running, right? You'll see, you'll have to kind of keep an eye on it. If you see, for the most part, all the other beats are kind of marching out, except every now and then you'll have you got to see what that is, and you'll learn some more. You'll learn about some of the things that it could be. You'll learn. We're not there yet, but you'll learn. I'm just telling you the different types of rhythms that you're gonna see. Regular, that are marching out. Regular but interrupted, every now and then it's interrupted. Or then you have the last one, which is irregular. There's no consistency in this rhythm. The R to R's are mostly never the same. It's just every now and then you'll get another chorus, and then another chorus. They want you to think of it like a rhythmic. What is it saying? Like a ticking clock, where every now and then you know when you're supposed to look rhythmic ticking of a clock. That's what you want to know. Like every time you to expect where the QRS is supposed to go. That's regular. And regular but interrupted is still kind of doing the same ticking of a clock, I guess, but every now and then you have an interruption. Now irregular, you don't know when you're gonna see the next QRS. It could be anytime. They're not consistent throughout the rhythm. And I'm gonna give you some examples. This is gonna be, I guess, the last for chapter 5. Some examples. Figure 5-4, you see, for the most part, they're all marching out 15, 15 and a half, 15 and a half, 15. Then you get a little premature beat. Premature means kind of like what it sounds like. A premature baby comes before it's due. Kind of like that, right? So it's a little bit sooner than expected. So you'll have different kind of premature beats. You'll have PACs, what you'll later learn, or PVCs, PJCs. You'll learn them a little bit later, but then you see you have one right there, and then it has a little bit of what is it, like a little space, I guess, and then it continues on to the where it left off, and then you see the rest is, so that would be regular rhythm interrupted by premature, which is the same thing as regular but interrupted. Okay. Now this one here on the bottom, it's also the same thing. You have 25, 25, and then this is different. This is different because you can't see the beat on this one. You can't see it, and you have to pay close attention to that, because it's something that's one of the things that you're going to learn. So if you take a look at this is a T wave, this is a P wave, and then so right here you see a T wave and then a P wave, and then you go over here, and this is not the same T wave as this one. You see this? The T wave, remember, goes the T wave after the QRS. Before the QRS is a P wave. After the QRS is a T wave. So here it's not looking the same as the other ones. So that means there's something going on in there. And what you call that is a non-conducted PAC. You will get into that. It's like a premature beat, except it's not a QRS. There's not a QRS. I guess it's like a premature baby. This is like a premature baby, I guess you want to say. But this one, it didn't. It's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of, I probably shouldn't be using that word, but it's like it didn't develop right or something like that. I don't know. I probably should use something better than that, but this is so this PAC did not come out like this. So this is a non-conducted premature beat, and this is just a premature beat. Well, this one, because it's so thin like that, it's called a PAC, and it's short for a big old word, but I will get into that later. This is a non-conducted PAC, and then and then gets a there's a small space or a gap, and there's a name for for this too, and we'll get to that later. And then it continues on to 26, 25, 26. So for the most part, the rhythm is regular but interrupted. This one up here is a whole irregular rhythm. That is an irregular rhythm up there, because it says 17, and it has 20, and then it has 30, and then it has 11, 21. So it has all kind of numbers in between, because that's how many boxes are from here to there, how many boxes are from here to there, how many boxes are from here to there. So it's not consistent. It's irregular. Okay? So you're going to find out what the name of this rhythm is by seeing these little wiggly lines right here. We'll get into that in the next few chapters. We're going to start giving you names of the rhythms, so you have an idea. There's a whole bunch of rhythms, so we'll get into each one. But the good thing is that we're already on, we're going to go slow. We're going to go chapter by chapter. We're already in chapter 5. And for the most part that I think I saw, there was only 11. So it's just really understanding what to look for. But so let's take a look at this one. What do you think this one would be? So you'd need a caliper, but for the most part, looking at how they say in the I've heard that word, eyeballing it, just eyeballing it. I want to say this is, and because you don't see you're looking at everything. The P wave, does it have a P wave of the same looking P wave before each QRS? Is a QRS constant? I'm seeing a bunch of QRS, but they're all over the place. I don't really see a P wave. I see one there maybe, but the next one doesn't have it. and it's just not regular. So I would say this is irregular rhythm. Irregular rhythm. What about this one? This one's kind of scary. This one's kind of scary because your heart rate, it's supposed to be between a good healthy heart is supposed to be beating in 1 minute 60 to 100 times a minute. And like we said, within this 6 second strip, there should at least be six heartbeats on here, but we only see three. So that's something dangerous right there. They're only beating three. If they don't, if they don't take care of this, it's only going to get worse, right? Let's look at the next one. It looks constant. It has a premature beat there, and then the rest looks consistent. All right, so that's regular but interrupted. This one, just eyeballing it. I would need a caliper. I don't have a caliper. I'll show you what a caliper looks like, but I don't have one, so I don't know exactly. It kind of looks regular but interrupted by a big pause, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't have the calipers to see if these, plus also because there's a little bit of beats in this one. I can't really tell. I'd have to keep looking at the rest of the rhythm to see what it's doing. This one, regular with a PVC. This is a little scarier than the regular PAC that we talked about, the premature beat. This one's also a premature beat, but this one, anytime or most times when a beat is wide and bizarre, like they call it, like this one's coming from the ventricle, so this one's a little scarier than the regular PAC. There's a PAC. It's a thin premature beat. PVC is a thin beat that's coming from the ventricles, and the rest looks like it's marching out regular. So regular but interrupted. We're gonna do a few more. This one looks all kinds of weird, right? But this is still a rhythm. It's still giving me QRSs. It's still regular. What does it say? 90. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I put 90. I guess this is something from before, but now I would have put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now I would put 10 and then add that 0 at the end of 100 beats. 100 beats a minute. And this one, you will see later on what the names of these rhythms are. This one looks a little bit more I don't know what the word is, more healthier, I guess you want to say. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 QRSs, that's 70. Like I said, 7 times 10, 70, or 7, and just add the 0 at the end, that's 70. I might have done the other type. I might have did the other type of calculating of the heart rate, which gave me a specific heart rate before. Now I just, because I worked in the hospital already in other places, now I just go straight to the count them and times 10, and that's it. But this is regular. This is also regular. You can see that the P waves are a little bit, taller or whatever. Remember, you also have to make sure the PR intervals, which is the beginning of the P to the beginning of the QRS, is at 0.20 seconds or less. Because if it's out more, or if it doesn't have a P wave at all, there's names for those rhythms. We have different names for this. Is regular but interrupted. That has a PVC. Now this PVC is the same thing as the other one, but like I said, some of them look different. So we'll get into more of these a little bit later. This one, the wiggly lines again, you'll see the name for that. It's not consistent. As you could tell, there's no P waves, or maybe there is P waves, but look at the way this one, you don't see any more. You see wiggly lines for the most part. That's not. So this is irregular. That's a regular. This one down here, it has a little bit of artifact because it's swaying, I guess. It's like it's going all types of, like a wave or something. But it's still regular. I still see regular. And then I see a P wave here, and it's one for each one, and it's at the same place almost. We're looking at all those details, and later on you'll get better. You'll get better and better with time. So that's that. This one is also a rhythm. It's not a good one, as you can tell. Anything that's white and bizarre, it's already, for the most part, is starting to get lethal, where the patient is, is in critical. It's not looking good. So it's still marching out for now. If we don't get the help for this patient, it's not going to look so good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 70 is a heart rate for them. It's regular, but it's a ventricular. It's a ventricular one. Like I said, I'm going to get into the different names of the rhythms. The rhythm in the top, I don't see it looking regular. Sometimes you gotta look at them because, like I said, maybe this rhythm is good and then it has a premature beat, and then later on it gets back into, but then so you just got to keep looking for the most part. Is it marching out or not? This one looks like it might not be marching out, and because I don't really see a P wave in there, so some of them, when they're wiggly like that, it doesn't matter. This one looks like this one. Hold on, let me go back over here. Like that one and this one, they don't look the same too much, but they both look like they might be atrial fib, the same type of rhythms, because there's no P waves and because there's wiggly lines all through it. So it might be AFib. You're supposed to make sure the QRS. Remember, you're all, like I said, remember to always look at the P wave to the QRS, and you got to measure the QRS too. If the QRS is greater than, what is that, what do we say, 0.12, then we're going to call it something else. We're going to be calling it something else. Like some of these, it still takes me a minute to this day, it takes me a minute to decide what I want to call this. Because there's different, and you'll see later on why. You'll see later on, because there's different rhythms, and sometimes, and it's okay to ask somebody else what their opinion is. That's fine. Later on, when they leave you alone, then you can start. If you don't know, go look back at their files, at what they've been running, and you can get an idea. And that's how you learn. You can ask somebody in the beginning, but once they start getting tired of you, then you need to start going into into the patient's history to see what they've been running, and then you decide in the end, does that look like what they've been running? Does it seem like it's a good answer or whatever? Like would you still call it that? Because sometimes I get stuck on stuff sometimes, and I don't know exactly. I'll call somebody, or I'll ask somebody, or I'll look at their charts. There's different ways to find out, and and it's okay to ask.